Am I VA eligible? It's a question I get all the time. You served in the military, you're unsure about what to do, you might be active duty, you want to buy a house, you want to get the information, take advantage of the benefit. I get it. I'm here to provide those answers. My name is Jason Stritter from Navigator Mortgage Brokers, and today I want to help you guys out and go over the details and the nitty-gritty to see if you're VA eligible. So the first thing we can do for you as a lender is check to see if we can get the certificate of eligibility from the VA's website. It's pretty straightforward. We need two things: your birthday and your social security number. We plug that information into the VA's website, pull the data, make sure we get the certificate, make sure the entitlement is there. Full eligibility is typically what we see, unless you have a VA loan presently. If you have a house that has entitlement tied to it, it'll have that indication on the COE. Veterans can also get this information from the website. I highly encourage veterans to get it just to have it in general. Keep it on file so when you need it, you have it. It's good to go. The next thing to do is, as far as eligibility goes, is see if you served 181 days during peacetime, or was it 90 days during wartime? That's exactly what it is. So 90 days wartime, 181 days during peacetime. If you meet those time periods, you're going to be good to go. The next thing is if a veteran has served in the reserves for 6 years or more, you're going to be qualified. Some of those changes actually took place recently because a lot of veterans were helping out with COVID. Also, this eligibility also applies to the reserves. Okay, so it's not just National Guard; it's reserves as well. So if anyone was active duty and they were helping out with what was going on in DC and with all the riots and everything, a lot of people can be eligible because they were activated from reserves to take care of all that stuff that was going on in DC. And then the next thing is surviving spouses. Surviving spouses who are not remarried can take advantage of the entitlement as well, as long as the veteran met the qualifications as far as like service time goes. So those are the three main criteria as far as eligibility goes that will help us determine the eligibility. If for some reason we can't get the certificate of eligibility, we can get the DD 214, get the information from that, and get the certificate that way. I have done it that way before as well. So that's how it works. The second way to know if you're eligible is if you served 6 years in the reserve of the National Guard. If you meet that criteria and you serve during those time periods, then you're going to be eligible for the VA loan. The next one is going to be anyone who is a surviving spouse who's not remarried can use the VA home loan benefit. So those are the main three ways that people can qualify. It's length of service for the most part is what the VA looks at, and do you meet those respective criteria, and then you're going to be good to go. The other thing that comes into play when qualifying for the home loan is of course credit, right? Credit qualifying is a big deal. We have to make sure that the ability to repay is going to be there. Although there's no actual credit score requirement from the VA, every individual lender has their own requirements based on how they want to manage risk, basically. So there's no minimum credit score, but the general rules, like these days here in 2021, a lot of lenders don't want to go below 600. Some are 580. Some will do below 580. It depends. I mean, if you're doing a little bit of a down payment, it certainly helps. They feel better about that type of loan. But I mean, I've seen some done at 100% financing below 580, just to give people hope out there who may be struggling with the credit piece. Of course, you have to qualify based on your income, right? You have to have the income to support the mortgage. You have to have the closing costs to be able to pay those, or in some cases the seller is going to help you out a little bit with those. Totally depends on the market, but that's definitely something else that's going to come into play. The other common question I get is, can I buy an investment property with this type of loan, with the VA home loan benefit? And the answer to that is no. It has to be a primary residence. Okay, you have to use the loan as a primary residence. However, that doesn't mean you can't use that type of home. Say you get deployed, say you want to move somewhere else and rent out that property as an investment property. Totally fine. That's totally fine. You can use the rental payment to offset the mortgage payment to qualify. And you're going to be good to go in that respect. So if you're ever looking to buy another property and you're worried about that being an issue, it's not. It's totally fine. Just can't use it for investment property purchases. But a caveat to that is you can buy up to 4 unit properties if you're going to live in one of the units. So if you buy the first floor and the top 3 are going to be rented out, that's fine. The VA doesn't care about that. So you'll be totally fine in that regard. As long as the units are separated, you're going to be fine in that respect. So that's definitely going to be something that's okay. The next piece is going to be proving income and doing an application with the lender to make sure that you can actually pay the bills on time, make sure your credit history is okay, make sure that you're not going to foreclose on the home or get put in a position that would be risky for the veteran. So nobody wants that. Doing the application, make sure you have a consistent 2 years of income. That's what they're going to look for. Make sure you have something that's going to be steady, reliable, likely to continue is what lenders like to look for. Okay, so if you're self-employed, you do need a 2-year work history. If you're like a contractor, you need a 2-year work history, those type of things. If you're a W-2 employee, it's going to be much easier. So it's less stringent in that regard. If you're on a salary, they know what you're going to make every 2 weeks or whatever the case may be, and you're going to be good to go in that regard. So definitely keep that in mind when you're thinking about purchasing a house and what kind of eligibility criteria is going to come up. So that leads me to really making sure that you get pre-approved before you go look for houses, because there's so much information that needs to be reviewed prior to that, and you really want to have that reviewed because you want a good solid foundation to base your home search on, so you can make sure when you find a house that you're ready to go. You don't have to worry about the loan falling through or anything popping up that might be an issue. So doing the due diligence of getting your pay stubs into your lender, your W-2s, possibly your tax returns, your bank statements, anything that they would really want to review prior to issuing you the pre-approval is pretty important for you and for the lender for that matter. So I definitely highly encourage anyone to work with a reputable VA lender and make sure that you're well taken care of in that regard. And quite frankly, I encourage a lot of my friends to ask for referrals in the veteran community to see who's good. There's a lot of marketing out there that is targeted at veterans, and some of those guys are not friendly. So we got to be cognizant of who we're working with, and also making sure that we're getting a fair deal. So again, make sure you get that pre-approval done early in the process so you can give your pre-approval letter to your real estate agent that you're working with, but also knowing how much do you qualify for the max, but also what are you comfortable at? Like, what does that payment look like per month, and what does that price range correlate to? A good lender will work with buyers to see what those numbers look like on each individual house if you're putting a contract in on a house, right? Typically, we can look up the address, see what the taxes are, look up the interest rate for that day, give you a good idea of what the figures are going to look like as far as payments goes, how much money you would need to bring to closing. Those are the 2 main factors that most people want and need, and quite frankly should have prior to getting into a contract, so that there's no surprises. So definitely get pre-approved. My name is Jason Turner from Navigator Mortgage Brokers. If you have any other questions, please let me know. Drop me a comment. I'm more than happy to help you out. Take care.